Hello and welcome to our Day 2 coverage of the ACHA Women's Division II Hockey Tournament. I'm Cullen Shalleck. There are games in all 4 pools today in Marlborough, Massachusetts, including your Assiniboine Community College Cougars. Yesterday, the Cougars put on a dominant performance as they beat Michigan State University by a score of 10-0. Cougars captain Simone Turner led the way as she scored 5 of the game's 10 goals. So Vermont and Assiniboine go into today's game with a 1-0 record, with top spot in Pool C on the line. Here's a look at the lineups for the Cougar squads, with the Simone Turner line getting the start. Aiden Roberts, Emily Thompson, and Simone Turner start the game up front, while Jensen Shearer and Keely Ems Finson on defense, and starting goalie Megan Beswitherick. And we had a chance to hear from Beswitherick prior to the game.
Megan Beswitherick, Assiniboine Community College, goaltender. Growing up, I played for the McGregor Mustangs out of McGregor, Manitoba, and then I went and played for the Holland Rockets in Pee Wee, and then from there in Bantam and Midget, I played for the AAA Central Plains Capitals. And now I'm here at ACC. I love the competitiveness of hockey and how it's a complete team game. If you're missing one player, it really shows, and I just love how we all rely on each other and we really play as a team. Playing in a varsity athletics team is the goal that I had since I was a child, so it means everything to me to play here now because it's all I've been dreaming of growing up. Every time I step on the ice, my main goal is to give my team the chance to win. I don't care how many goals are scored on me, as long as I am putting my team in a position where we are able to win. My hopes for my team is to make it back to the national championships in Boston this year and fight for our title of reigning champs.
In Marlborough, action gets going midway through the first, as Casey Folliard chips the puck loose and Emma Ramsey snipes it up over the Vermont netminder's shoulder, and it's 1-0 for the Cougars. Then, with under 3 to go in the first, the shot is picked up by none other than Simone Turner, who sweeps around the outstretched Catamounts goalie for her 6th goal of the tournament, and the Cougars lead 2-0. And just a few seconds later, Turner picks up the loose puck on the boards and she dangles around the defenseman and snaps it home. It's her 7th goal in 2 games. Emily Thompson would add 2 more, including a penalty shot, to make the final 5-0. So the Cougars improve to 2 wins in pool play and have the stage set for tomorrow against Adrian College. A win puts ACC in the driver's seat going into the playoffs. Assiniboine adds 2 more and wins by a score of 5-0. The Cougars would improve to 2-0 and Vermont falls to 1-1. ACC stays and keeps their playoff hopes alive, and they will face Adrian College tomorrow. Vermont meets Michigan State in the final day of Pool C play. Our production team on the ground in Marlborough had eyes on this game, and joining us now is Lincoln Jordan. Lincoln, what were your thoughts on the Cougars' performance today?
Hey, Cullen. Yeah, once again, it's an impressive victory. The Cougars remained a well-oiled machine throughout. This was a 5-0 shutout victory for number 1, Megan Beswitherick, who was very impressive. But I have to tip my hat to Vermont's goalie, number 29, Jenny Collins, who, even under the immense stress early on, made plenty of saves, but still not enough to prevent the Cougars from advancing.
What do you think were the factors that contributed to the Cougars' win today?
I believe their ability to consistently remain on the same page and never give Vermont any kind of opening really heavily contributed to their victory. I also think the fact that they didn't come into this game cocky by any means, even after their incredibly dominant 10-0 victory yesterday, heavily contributed as well.
And how about the performances of Cougars captain Simone Turner and Emily Thompson?
Yeah, Simone Turner, as usual, didn't fail to impress, scoring 2 beautiful goals in the first period. But I have to say I was much more impressed with Emily Thompson, who scored shorthanded in the second period and then scored the 5th and final goal of the game on a penalty shot. So for me, these 2 are definitely co-players of the game.
So the Cougars are on to their next matchup against Adrian College tomorrow. What are your thoughts on this game on Saturday?
I personally am not worried. I don't think the Cougars should underestimate the Bulldogs by any means, but I also don't think they should worry either. If they're able to keep their cool and stay lightning focused the way they have been, I think the semifinals are well within their reach.
Thanks for this, Lincoln. We'll check in with you again tomorrow on our continuing coverage of the ACHA Women's Division II Hockey Tournament. Our team in Boston is posting content here on the Cougars YouTube channel. Catch their game day recaps here each day of the tournament.
Thanks, Colin.
In other pool play today, North Dakota State University was in action versus Assumption University earlier. Both teams lost their first games yesterday in Pool A. Their game got started early this morning. 2 minutes into the first, and Assumption opens the scoring as Mary McKiernan finds an open Ariana D'Souza who rips it home. It looked like possible goaltender interference, but it stands and it's 1-0. Assumption late in the first, NDSU is in control, and on the power play, Jaden Brendison misses the far side, but Emma Arstein picks up the loose puck and jams it into the open side, and the game is tied at 1. On to the second, and nearing the halfway mark, NDSU has possession, and Ashlyn Shar threads the needle to Emma Arstein, and she rips it from the face-off dot past the Assumption netminder, and NDSU breaks the knot and takes a 2-1 lead. 3 minutes later, NDSU puts it off the boards. Mallory Header feeds Brooke Pomeroy on the nice pass, and she makes no mistake finding the back of the open cage, and it's 3-1 and NDSU. North Dakota would add 2 more to win by a score of 5-1. Emma Arstein with a strong performance in today's game as she picks up the hat trick. Both teams will be in action tomorrow as North Dakota State will meet Northeastern University, and Assumption is set to face off against the United States Naval Academy. In Pool B action this morning, it was Central Michigan University squaring off against Villanova. Again, both of these teams lost their opening Pool B games yesterday. We pick up action in the first as Villanova's Grace Curran corrals the puck out in front, and she puts the puck on net, and Zoe Garrett jumps on the rebound, and she shovels it past the CMU netminder, and it's 1-0 Villanova. Late in the first, it's Brown with a great poke check as she's off to the races on the 2-on-1. She waits out the defenseman and feeds Curran, who finishes it off with a great tap-in. Villanova gets the nice goal to go up by a score of 2-0. Into the second, and Villanova's Brown brings it into the zone, and she freezes the goalie with the open winger. She snaps it past the CMU goalie, and it's 3-0 Villanova. Villanova goes on to win this one by a score of 4-0. These teams are back in action tomorrow as Villanova meets Dakota College at Bottineau, and Central Michigan meets Niagara University. In Pool D, the University of Delaware was in action against Sioux College. Sioux won their opening game versus Rowan University in dominant fashion with a score of 6-1. Delaware lost a close game against Providence College by a score of 1-0. And Sioux College absolutely dominated this game as they beat Delaware by a score of 10-0. A standout performance from Emma Lee and Megan Daly, who scored 2 goals each. Sioux is looking strong in Pool D and are also in good position to make the playoff round. A win in the semis could set up an all-Canadian final should ACC find a way to advance. Once again, the 2-0 Cougars keep their hopes for a three-peat alive. They have one more game ahead of them as they get set to meet Adrian College, and that game goes tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. And you can watch that game and all the action from the tournament on Hockey TV at hockeytv.com. And be sure to follow ACC at the tournament and this weekend as the Cougars on the Cougars YouTube channel, and our field production files their game day recap right here. All right, we will take a short break, and when we come back, ACC's Amy Dickerson joins us with her thoughts on today's game. Welcome back, and joining us now is ACC's Amy Dirksen. She's the person behind the Fierce Female Hockey Camp, and Jenna Lee Birch, who is one of the first goalies in female minor hockey here in Brandon. Thanks so much for joining us. So you folks were hosting the watch party here on campus. Amy, what were your thoughts on the watch party and on the Cougars' big win today?
Yeah, so I'll start with the watch party. I think what a great way to spend St. Patrick's Day, having an open event like this. And it was open. We actually had some members of the community join us as well as students. I think it's just a really great way to celebrate our athletes and their accomplishments. It's a really big deal that we have such a strong women's hockey program here. And so giving people an opportunity to be a part of celebrating this and a part of the action, I think is really great. As for the game itself, I mean, 5-0. There's not much there that you can complain about. So I think overall, quite a successful St. Patrick's Day event.
So you are heavily involved in developing women's hockey and growing the game for girls. What does it mean to these young women who get a chance to play on the national stage?
I think it's huge, right? Having the exposure of being able to go and be a part of an event like this, it's something none of them will forget. I also think it's just amazing if you can combine your academic pursuits with your athletic pursuits. So I had the pleasure of being an intercollegiate athlete, and so I know what it's like firsthand to kind of have those types of experiences. You're also developing incredible skills that are transferable into the different professions that you choose as well. And so it's great, right? It gives them something that they can work towards, and it gives them some recognition, which they deserve as very competitive athletes.
So generally, how unusual is it for a smaller school like ACC to experience this kind of success?
It's tremendously unique. There's not too many other colleges the size of Assiniboine that are seeing the same success in any sport for that matter. And to see it in women's hockey, especially in this region, it's very exciting for many of our young women that are coming up and having these role models on the ice right in front of them in a national championship. So it's wonderful to see the success, and we hope it continues.
Amy, what were your impressions of how this Cougar team has played so far in this tournament?
Yeah, so I'll comment on today's game. Again, 5-0. Obviously, they had a strong game. One of the things that I commented to Jenna Lee that I really like is they play as a team. So they really utilize every position, which I think is great. I played D competitively, and sometimes you can feel like all the action is with the forwards, especially in like a 10-0 or a 5-0 game. And I think they do a really good job of integrating those players on the point. They regroup a lot, both in their defensive zone as well as the neutral zone. The other thing I would say is they're a systems-based team. When you watch them, they have really clean breakouts. In the offensive zone, they cycle the puck really well. You can tell that their coaching unit really pushes systems on them, and it's definitely helping them. The teams that they're playing against are having a harder time defending against it because they are just that much more polished in how they're playing a systems-based game.
And Jenna Lee, what do you think ACC's chances are of completing the three-peat?
Well, I feel it is very high. However, you got to take it one game at a time. Any tournament like this where it's a national tournament, national stage, you can't get ahead of yourself, and you got to focus on the game at hand. And so every other team is wanting that championship just as bad. A three-peat would be wonderful. But they've got a couple of games ahead of them first, and they got to take care of those games first.
We're also not allowed to say anything else, but that we think they're going to take it home. They're going to take it all.
Of course. And Amy, seeing these young women having this kind of success, talk a little bit about the importance of development work and the camps to help female hockey players rise to this level and beyond.
Yeah, so Fierce Female Hockey, I created it last year. I created it because I saw a programming gap for our youngest players. A lot of, Jenna Lee is an example where she's a part of the first ever Brandon's team. And while it wasn't yesterday, it wasn't that long ago. And so you have a lot of female players who are still playing in mixed teams. They're still sometimes struggling to find teams to play with. Not everyone is comfortable playing on a co-ed team. And so I really wanted to provide females with an opportunity to experience what an all-female environment is. Built into that is mentorship and role modeling. It's the idea of see it, be it. And so our Cougars athletes are part of that see it, be it, right? They represent the role models that these young players want to aspire to. And so was really fortunate. I had some Cougars who were a part of the camp last year. The entire team took part in SO Fun Days, which is a free program to encourage girls to try hockey or to stay in hockey. And they came out to the ice times and they did just that, right? They were there, they were interacting with these players, and they were showing them what is capable, right? When you see that you can grow with something, that's really important.
Well, thank you guys so much for the insights today, and thank you for all the work that you do to help grow the sport for girls and women's hockey. And don't forget that ACC's next action is tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. as they get set to meet Adrian College. You can catch all the action on Hockey TV at hockeytv.com. and you can see all the coverage from our team on the ground this weekend right here on the Cougars YouTube channel. Speaking of growing young hockey talent, we had a chance to speak with the Cougars number 18, Mackenzie Dixon.
My name is Mackenzie. I go to school at ACC, and I am a defenseman. I grew up playing in a small town community. I tried out for a AAA team, and I've played there for 5 years. And then after that, I came here at ACC. Playing on a varsity team has always been a dream of mine. It's always been something I've wanted to do since I was a little girl, and just being able to finally accomplish that, it's just like a dream come true. I hope to go to nationals in Boston again this year and win another national championship.
The Cougars are a truly talented group of young ladies, and we'll continue to introduce you to more members of this ACC team as our coverage continues. There are a full slate of games ahead this afternoon, and pool play wraps up tomorrow. We'll take a look ahead when we come back from the break. Welcome back. The remaining games today see Northeastern against the United States Naval Academy, Niagara plays Dakota College at Bottineau, Michigan State meets Adrian College, and Rowan University faces off against Providence College. And there's a full slate of games tomorrow in the final day of pool play. In Pool C, Assiniboine squares off against Adrian College, and the Cougars are looking to finish strong in pool play and advance to the semifinals on Sunday. You can catch the action on Hockey TV at hockeytv.com, and that game goes at 11:45 a.m. local time. Also in that pool, it's Michigan State University versus the University of Vermont, and that game is at 4:45 p.m. local time. In Pool A play, the United States Naval Academy meets Assumption University in their final game of the tournament. That game goes at 9:15 a.m. tomorrow local time. Also in Pool A, Northeastern University squaring off against Dakota College State at 2:15 p.m. In Pool B, it's Dakota College at Bottineau versus Villanova University, who have 1-1 records as they defeated Central Michigan. Then in the afternoon game, it's Niagara University versus Central Michigan University at 4:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. In Pool D, Sioux College looks to continue their winning ways as they host Providence College at 1:15 p.m. local. If they are successful, they will advance to the semis and may set up an all-Canadian final in the ACHA if the ACC Cougars advance as well. Then in the late game, it's Rowan University getting set to meet the University of Delaware at 6:15 p.m. local time. So that sets up an exciting weekend of hockey. ACC is victorious over the University of Vermont by a score of 5-0. Simone Turner with another standout performance and points from Emily Thompson. That puts the Cougars in a good position as they get set to meet Adrian College tomorrow. The goal of a three-peat remains in sight for ACC, but they have to beat Adrian and then win the semifinal on Sunday. So the job is not yet done. You can catch the games right here on Hockey TV at hockeytv.com. And make sure you catch our team on the ground in Marlborough. They'll be filing the game day recaps right here on the Cougars YouTube channel. So that concludes our coverage this week. We'll be back on Monday with coverage of the final. That game is set to go at 9:30 a.m. local time. Will it be Sioux College versus Assiniboine? There are games yet to play, and we'll find the answers as this tournament continues through the weekend. On behalf of Lincoln Jordan, Amy Dickerson, and our production team here and in Marlborough, I'm Colin Shalleck. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.